This week, buckle up because we're diving headfirst into the dumpster fire that is the current state of, well, states. Specifically the 10 US states currently wrestling with enough problems to make Sisyphus say, dude, that rock rolling thing, rough gig. We're talking full-blown economic woes, natural disasters that would make Noah start building a second ark, and political climates so heated they could melt steel beams. Over the next little while, we'll be counting down the top 10 states facing the biggest struggles in 2025. And trust me, some of these might surprise you, especially number 3. Stick around. First up, the Golden State. Home of Hollywood, Silicon Valley, and unfortunately, a rapidly growing number of people who can't afford to live there. California, once the land of opportunity, is now facing an economic crisis that's less tech boom and more looming doom. Unemployment rates are soaring higher than a SpaceX rocket, and not in a good way. Remember those sky-high housing prices we used to joke about? Well, they've stopped being funny. They're now just plain high, forcing families to choose between making rent and, eating. And if you think the economy is bad, wait until you hear about the wildfires. Every year, California burns with the intensity of 1,000 suns, turning entire communities into smoldering piles of ash. The problems are bigger, the stakes are higher, and the solutions are, well, let's just say they're about as clear as the air quality during wildfire season. Next up, we're heading east to the city that never sleeps, mostly because it's too busy worrying about how to make rent. That's right, folks. It's New York City, the Big Apple, the concrete jungle where dreams are made of, well, increasingly smaller and more expensive apartments. The housing crisis in New York is so bad even rats are considering moving to the suburbs. Finding an affordable apartment is about as likely as hailing a cab that doesn't smell like a gym bag full of old tuna sandwiches, and don't even get me started on the cost of living. A bagel and coffee will set you back the price of a small car in most other states. Inflation is running rampant, turning everyday essentials into luxury items. Want to buy a gallon of milk? Better take out a second mortgage. A subway ride? Prepare to empty your 401k. Delays are rampant, track fires are a regular occurrence, and the only thing more common than rats on the tracks are delays caused by said rats on the tracks. Now, you might be expecting me to talk about a state with a history of economic hardship or perhaps one constantly battling hurricanes, but no, our number 3 spot goes to Texas. Yes, you heard that right. The Lone Star State, the land of oil barons and 10-gallon hats, is facing a crisis. A crisis of identity. See, Texas built its reputation on being big oil, big business, big hair, but that go big or go home mentality hasn't aged well. The oil industry, once the backbone of the Texas economy, is facing an uncertain future as the world shifts towards renewable energy. Meanwhile, the state's infrastructure is crumbling faster than a cowboy's teeth after a lifetime of chewing tobacco. Texas is at a crossroads, folks. It can either cling to its outdated image and risk being left behind, or it can embrace change, invest in its people, and build a more sustainable future. Chapter 4, Florida, the Sunshine State of Decay. Florida. Land of sunshine, beaches, and a healthcare system that's about as effective as a screen door on a submarine? That's right, folks, the Sunshine State is facing some serious challenges, and this time it's not just about the threat of hurricanes or alligators on the golf course. Florida's healthcare system is in shambles. It's like a game of Jenga played with human lives, where one wrong move could send the whole thing crashing down. Access to affordable healthcare is about as rare as a sober spring breaker, and the state's refusal to expand Medicaid has left millions of residents without any coverage at all. Florida's roads are so congested you'd think they were giving away free orange juice at rush hour. The bridges are older than your grandma's dentures and about as structurally sound. Chapter 5, Louisiana Sinking Feeling. Louisiana, home of jazz, gumbo, and the unfortunate distinction of being on a first-name basis with every hurricane that's ever formed in the Atlantic. This state has been battered by natural disasters more times than a piñata at a 5-year-old's birthday party, and frankly, it's starting to show. We're talking hurricanes so powerful, they could rip the Joe right out of Go Tigers. Floods that make you wonder if Noah left the ark parked around the corner. And let's not forget about the coastal erosion, which is slowly but surely claiming Louisiana's coastline faster than a politician changes their stance on a hot-button issue. This constant barrage of natural disasters has taken a toll on the state's economy, infrastructure, and most importantly, its people. Homes are lost, businesses are shuttered, and lives are upended with a frequency that would make even the most hardened disaster relief worker question their career choices. Chapter 6. West Virginia Wild, Wonderful, and Withering. West Virginia, the mountain state, known for its breathtaking scenery, coal mining heritage, and a population decline that's about as dramatic as a mountaintop removal mining operation. It's a tale as old as time, or at least as old as the coal industry, once a thriving hub of economic activity, now struggling to adapt to a changing world. Young people are leaving West Virginia in droves, fleeing for job opportunities and a life outside the hollers. Those who remain are often left to grapple with the consequences of the state's declining population, a shrinking tax base, struggling schools, and a sense that the best days are behind them. And while the opioid epidemic has ravaged communities across the country, it's hit West Virginia particularly hard. Chapter 7. Illinois, the land of Lincoln and lemons. Next, we head to the Prairie State, Illinois, home of Chicago-style pizza, deep dish politics, and a financial crisis so deep even the pizza delivery guys are starting to ask for payment up front. Illinois' budget woes are legendary, like a fiscal version of the Chicago Cubs World Series drought. The state has a knack for spending money it doesn't have, racking up more debt than a college student with a credit card and a caffeine addiction. Schools are underfunded, roads are crumbling, and the pension system is about as stable as a house of cards in a wind tunnel. Chapter 8. Michigan, more than cars in crisis. Michigan, the Motor City, home of the automobile, Motown, and a crime rate that's enough to make you want to trade in your car for a suit of armor. Detroit, once a symbol of American industrial might, has become synonymous with urban decay, crime, and a sense of hopelessness that's as palpable as the smell of gasoline in the air. While other cities have experienced a decline in crime rates, Detroit seems stuck in reverse. Chapter 9. Ohio, from Rust Belt to Rust Bucket. Ohio, the Buckeye State, known for its cornfields, football rivalries, and a growing environmental crisis that's about as subtle as a lake catching fire. From toxic algae blooms in Lake Erie that would make even the bravest swimmer think twice, to air pollution levels that would make a coal miner blush, Ohio is facing an environmental reckoning. Once the heart of the industrial Midwest, Ohio is now grappling with the legacy of its industrial past. Factories that once churned out steel and automobiles now pump out pollution, poisoning the air, water, and land. It's a classic case of short-term gain, long-term pain. Chapter 10. Arizona, high heat, higher tensions. Finally, we arrive in Arizona, the Grand Canyon state, known for its stunning desert landscapes, scorching heat, and a political climate so hot it could melt steel. Arizona has become a battleground in the culture wars, with politicians more interested in scoring points with their base than actually governing. From voting rights to immigration to education, Arizona seems determined to be on the wrong side of every issue. It's like they're actively trying to win the award for most regressive state in the union. In a state where temperatures regularly soar above 100 degrees, you'd think they'd be a little more concerned about the fact that the planet is literally on fire. Outro, and the bad news is, so there you have it, the 10 U.S. states currently wrestling with more problems than a dog trying to solve a Rubik's Cube. From economic despair to natural disasters to political dysfunction, these states are facing an uphill battle, and it's not clear if they have the tools, resources, or frankly the political will to overcome these challenges. But hey, at least we can take comfort in the fact that we're not alone in our misery. Thanks for watching. If you found this video insightful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more in-depth analyses of current events and trends. Let us know in the comments which state's struggles surprised you the most.